So let's talk about beginning this process well. What does that actually look like? So if you can, if you know in your life someone who's 3 years old or 2 years old, it's right at the edge where children become self-conscious about performance in understanding. So right around 3.5 or 4.5 is where kids start to feel a little bit ashamed of not knowing, of not catching up. But before that, they don't care, actually. They'll start babbling things. They'll use words they don't know. Without any hesitation, they'll grab something and start playing with it. And you've all seen the kind of classic comedy where the kid keeps pushing the spoon off the table 1,000 times while they build the heuristic to see 1 in 1,000 times does gravity lift the spoon up? No, actually, 1,000 out of 1,000 times the spoon falls, they say, right? So as you're learning, think of it in terms of experimentation, exploration, shameless, guilt-free play, right? That's kind of what we're looking for. Commit yourself, please, to being shamelessly selfish in what you need. Keep asking and asking and asking until you get what you need. And sustainably generous, I say, so that no one's up at 2 a.m. trying to respond to questions. You don't owe anybody anything beyond what's sustainably generous. Do your best to help people. If you know the answer, if you think of something, if you realize someone's confused, you have a little bit of extra time, give it. But don't stress about it. In terms of getting, also, don't hesitate, don't stress. Just keep asking over and over and over. So these two together give us the kind of the right structure to operate in a high pressure, high intensity learning experience like this one. Okay, keep asking till you get it and give as much as you can, please, for each other as well. You understand? Okay, so let's talk a little bit. How's this week going to go? We're going to have meetings like this where you're asking questions. I'm talking a little bit. Maybe you're talking to each other. Maybe you have ideas. You're helping. That's kind of how it's going to happen. And then we're going to split up. You're going to get together with other people in the group, and you're going to do work, reading things, writing things, trying things, following instructions, and so on. And I'll show you kind of what those instructions look like briefly. We've already talked about how much time you should commit, so I won't repeat that. You should spend your time pushing yourself. So if there's like 3 things you should read, but 30 that you could read, go for the 30. Always pushing. You ask for help in Discord. If you fall behind, if you get sick or busy, it's no problem. You can always just retake this course again. So every 2 weeks, we have the same course. And it just keeps improving every time. We keep adding new features or adding more explanations, or we get more demos from the last instance, as you've seen already. So no stress. If you can't keep up with this course, if it's too fast for you, just punt and come to the next one. If you end up getting distracted or super busy at work, it happens. Just unplug and come back. No guilt, no shame. But you have to make sure that your team knows what you're doing. So be super clear about that stuff. If suddenly you're not available, you should let your team know. You don't want to sort of leave people kind of, wondering what happened to you, right? And so I would recommend for progress, to measure your progress, if depending on your own learning style, it's quite helpful actually to prove to yourself that you're learning. So some people don't realize as they're learning. It's sort of the process happens kind of invisibly in the back of your mind. But if you start, let's say today, by reading a contract, is one of the first exercises we're going to do. You read a contract and it's totally disorienting for you. Read the same contract every day. Actually leave that contract open somewhere on your computer and reread it every single day. And what you'll find is within 2 or 3 days, it's starting to make sense. You're starting to see new things about the contract. That's quite a simple tactic for testing your own knowledge. And then we talked about L1 participant versus L1V, verified developer. All right. So in terms of your solo activities, you're going to be surveying code, reading, cloning repos, running tests, editing code. As you can imagine, group activities, you're going to be pairing, some sync, some async. As groups, you're going to want to organize yourselves to have meetings, maybe on Discord, to have calls. So probably you want to organize around language. So if you have, several people who prefer speaking, as has happened before, Chinese, for example, or Turkish or Arabic, you want to get together with people who are speaking those languages so that you have the highest fidelity quality communication channel. You're not struggling. Sometimes there's a Chinese speaking group, a Russian group. We've had each of those in the last 2 cohorts because there are people who are speaking these languages natively, and then other people are in English speaking groups, for example. But we also have some participants now from Turkish and who speak Turkish or Arabic, and so you may want to organize yourself around these language groups because it's going to be much easier to communicate much faster, right? Especially some of the subtle stuff when you're confused or disoriented. So the same start time every day as this meeting, so that you're not disoriented. 45 minutes ago we started. We're going to do the same thing every single day, 5 days a week. The only meetings that are required are today and Friday. The other meetings are optional. So don't stress if for some reason you can't make it Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. You can certainly come in, but don't stress. You can ask your team what happened or what you missed or whatever. But today and Friday are the 2 key ones. So, and of course, you're going to want to spend time connecting with your team. On Thursday, as part of the workload, you can see it. On Thursday, we ask you to commit. What are you going to be demonstrating on Friday, so that we know how to predict what's happening on Friday?